back to the channel. I am SalDablerd, and today we're going to be talking about the art of detachment and why it's essential for your spiritual growth. But before we get into this video, like, comment if you enjoyed the videos, and if it's your first time watching, how you doing? I hope you enjoyed the content. So, detachment. It can sound like such a cold thing, you know, to just be detached, not care. But detaching does not mean you don't care. You see, when we're talking about detaching, it's not saying that you detach from self or you detach from your higher power. It's detaching from all the external things that may sway your judgment or sway your emotions or sway you in general. You see, when you are too attached to people, places, and things that have nothing to do with you, it's hard to be attached to self because we only have so much energy. And if you're spending all of your energy on what the next person thinks or how you should portray yourself to fit in with this group of people, you're not giving enough time for self, because self is a lot more important than external validation. You have a lot of people that like to follow trends, that like to fit in so that they can feel part of the in crowd. But when everyone is in the in crowd, do you really stand out, or are you really being true to self? And you'll start to lose yourself. That's what we call the matrix, where you have all of these people doing things because everyone else does it. You're following trends just to stay relevant with the masses. But sometimes you have to detach. That's why they say God calls you into isolation. And in isolation, you're going to be forced to detach because you're not keeping up with people, places, and things. You're not keeping up with the trends. And when you're not keeping up with all these things, you start to get looked at as the different person. And when you get looked at as the different person, you can often get demonized. And early on, it can stop your growth, because when people see you in a certain light and you're not strong enough in who you see yourself as, you'll start to take their opinions to heart. You'll start to take their opinions and let them be higher than what you think of self. That's why it's important to be isolated, so that you can get grounded in your beliefs, grounded in who you are. And being detached does not mean I don't care about the next person's feelings, or I don't care about what is going on around me. It just means that I'm detached enough to attach to myself and worry about myself first. Because at the end of the day, all you have is self. But that doesn't make you a cold person. You can still be loving, you can still be caring, and you can still be compassionate. But you have to make sure your cup is full. Because one thing about abundance is, you can feel as abundant as you want, but if you're pouring into everyone else without pouring into yourself, your cup will eventually run empty. That's why God says He's going to make sure your cup runneth over. When your cup is running over, that means you have such an abundance that it is flowing out of you. And when that abundance is flowing out of you, you're able to pour into others without emptying yourself. You're able to be that beacon of light, because you practice the detachment enough to the point where you are aware of self, you're aware of who you are, you're aware of your energy. And it's important to be aware of your energy, because if you're not aware of your energy, you will give so much to other people, other places, and other things, and then eventually you'll feel drained. You'll feel exhausted. You'll feel down on yourself. You'll get into depression. You'll get sad. And you wonder why these waves constantly hit. And then you just forget about it when you get that burst of energy. And you run through the same cycle again of self-deprecation. And until you realize that you must take care of self, you'll constantly go through this cycle. You see, I like to spend time with myself. I like to meditate and reflect on how I feel. And it's important that you do these same practices. You see, prayer is good and all. We all must talk to God, but we also must listen for His guidance. And it's hard to listen for His guidance when you're listening to everybody else. You're listening to everyone else's opinion, and you're not focusing on the main opinion, your higher power. What do you want out of life? You see, sometimes when you're following the right path, it seems wrong to everyone else because they're not following that path, because that path is not meant for them. The path was meant for you. And your fear to walk in your power will give others the chance to manipulate you, to trick you out of your spot, because they can see the greatness in you. They can see the light in you. 9 times out of 10, people will see the potential in you before you see the potential in yourself, because you have not perfected the art of detachment. And the fact that you can't detach from all of these things, you're not able to reflect on self and really see that light within you. And you have a lot of envious people on this planet. You have a lot of people that are selfish. And these people will see you surpassing them. They can see it, even though it hasn't happened. And when they see these things, they will do whatever it is in their power to stop you. Because one thing about humans is we have a crab in the barrel mentality, especially someone that is not walking in the light. We have a lot of lost souls out here. So you're listening to all of these people. They're telling you that your plans are horrible. They're telling you that you can never do what you dream of. They're telling you that's a bad idea. And once you internalize these ideas, you start to believe that. So you will give up on yourself. Until you're able to detach from that negativity and attach to yourself, you'll constantly go through these cycles. Life has cycles. And until you're able to recognize the bad cycles that you're involved in, you'll constantly go through them. Something good about this year is, in numerology, this is the year of the 9. I've been saying it in my videos, 999, the 999 portal. 9 represents the end of cycles. This is a perfect year to reflect on self. Reflect on your past couple years and how things have been. How many times have you started something and not finished it? How many times have you had a great idea that you believed was great, but when you spoke your greatness to other people, they put you down? It's not because they don't see that what you're trying to accomplish is great. It's that they're upset that the greatness is within you. So you will have people that try to put you down just to make their self feel above you, because they see you on such a high pedestal that if they can knock you off of it, it will make them feel as high as you were. It will give them an ego boost. And you constantly let people manifest off of you, off of your energy, off of your potential, because you're not investing into yourself. And some of these people will even take your ideas. They will clown your ideas straight to your face, make you feel less than, while trying to mimic everything that you are. You see, they will go to other people talking down about you, but yet they'll try to implement the same things within themselves because they see the greatness, they see the potential. But the thing is, the truth always comes to light. You see, the thing is that when you're not walking in your power, so the people that try to steal your light, they can never truly steal your light because it's your light. They will always fail. The original always outshines anyone that tries to recreate the image. And the thing is, you have to realize that you are the original. And until you can see that, you'll constantly be lost. You'll constantly be in the darkness. We don't have to be in the darkness forever, but in the darkness is where you find your training, is where you will be poured into, is where you will have your development. Out of the darkness comes the light. So yes, it can be a treacherous journey, depending on how soon you can learn your lessons and how soon you can start to apply the wisdom. Because you can have knowledge of this stuff, but knowledge is just information. You have to learn how to implement this information into your life to make it wisdom, because wisdom is the application of the information, which is knowledge. So I can tell you all of this, but until you actually practice, until you actually incorporate this into your life and make it wisdom, you will still be lost. So I can tell you that you need to reflect on self. I can tell you that you need to meditate. I can tell you all of this stuff, and you can learn the knowledge. You can go tell everyone what I told you. But until you're willing to actually do the work, you will not see the growth, because you have to tear down them walls. God will challenge you, especially when you want growth, especially when you want to overcome. But in order to overcome, you have to keep going when you reach these obstacles. God will put tests in your life. Every time you think that the door has been shut, there's another door opening for you. But if you're not searching for that door, you'll never find it. Just because God put an obstacle in your life is not because he wants you to give up. It's because he wants you to use the wisdom that he have installed within you to overcome. And when you overcome, you find growth, because you're not stagnant anymore. You're seeing the adversity and you're fighting through it. It's about fighting through the adversity. It's about fighting through the pain. It's about fighting through all the things that we go through. In life, we are constantly evolving if we choose to. Some of us are stagnant, and some of us digress. You see, when you start to believe all the things that these people say, when you start to believe that you do not have power within you, you can become stagnant. But you can also digress being around the wrong people. You see, people can lead you in the wrong direction, especially with people that have no light within them. You see, when people are doing horrible and they see you doing great, you being around them shines light on their darkness. So they will try to bring you to their level. And if you allow this, you're digressing. You're not even stagnant. You see, stagnant, I could be a good person, I could just be vibrating here. But when you're around them negative people, they bring you down and down and down. That's why God wants to isolate you, so that you can see who you are, so you can see who you truly are. And once you start to see who you truly are, you'll start to be able to see who do not belong around you. You'll start to see what does not belong around you. You'll start to see the things that don't serve you. And being detached does not mean you're emotional, it's like I said. But to be truly in tune with your emotions, it's not to pour all of your emotions out into this world, into other people. It's to pour it into yourself. You have to make sure you're calibrated correctly. You have to make sure that you are in line. If my heart is not healed, it's hard for me to love others. If I'm not feeling good about self, and you're seeking validation from all these other people to feel good, now you're seeking external validation. And when you're seeking external validation, that's a terrible thing, because when people choose not to uplift you, you're feeling down because you can't uplift yourself. When people go against your judgment, you feel less than, you feel not as smart, you feel like you're doing the wrong thing, even though what you're doing can be the right thing. But until you are able to traverse through your internal compass, to ignore the outside world, people do not become great because they listen to others. People become great because they listen to self. When you are an artist, when you are a creative person, you're the creator. All of these other people's opinions do not matter. Your opinion matters. Your connection with your higher being, your connection with God, Allah, whatever you believe in. But you have to have that connection. No one else can maintain that connection for you, no matter how much you go to church, no matter how many scriptures you read. Until you're able to build that connection with self and your higher power, you'll be lost. Because you can go to the preacher, he can pray for you, you can feel good for a day, but until you learn to pray for yourself, until you learn to go and seek God yourself, you will always need external sources to validate who you are, to validate your power. You must find that validation within self. And this detachment can help you build confidence, because now you're relying on yourself. Now you have to trust your own judgment. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes you will fail. That's these walls. Failure is only failure if when you fall, you choose not to get back up. But every time you get back up and try again, you're making more progress. Now you see it don't work. And you're no longer taking losses. Because when you take a loss, you just take the loss and give up. You're taking lessons. You learn something from that. And now you're able to adapt. You're able to apply newer principles that you know you didn't try before, but yet they may help you get to a higher state. So it's important to have trust within self and to be okay with failure, because it's part of the process. You will be hit with walls, you will be hit with obstacles, but the fact that you're not giving up is where you'll find your strength. That's where you will build your resilience, because you have to be resilient. If you're resilient, drop it in the comments. I am resilient. I am powerful. I am creative. I trust self. Do you trust yourself? And if you don't trust yourself, detaching from all these external things and starting to rely on yourself is how you will build that trust. Because if you never take the chance and take that jump, you're never going to know the outcome. Even if you fail, you get back up. You realize I'm not dead. The world did not end. I can try again. But what if you start to float? Now you're getting comfortable with being within self. So you take a bigger jump. Now you're starting to fly. You're soaring. And you're becoming more confident within self. And detachment is so powerful because you have time to isolate. And within this isolation, you have time to really think about things, because your thoughts create your actions, and your actions create your reality, and this is who you are. You have to be conscious of your thoughts, but are you feeding your mind? You can't want to grow spiritually, physically, and emotionally without putting positive things into your life. So sometimes if you're not the most athletic person, you don't know nothing about working out, you have to seek this information. The more you learn, the more you're able to apply. If you're not the most spiritually inclined, there's a lot of people that make spiritual content. There's books. You must learn. And from when you learn this information, you must start to apply. So you must constantly seek growth, because you're not going to evolve staying stagnant. You're not going to achieve your goals by not chasing things. You're not going to achieve your goals by worrying about the failures of yesterday. And you're not going to achieve your goals by constantly just dreaming about the future. The magic happens in the present. It's important to be aware of the past and the future, because reflecting on the past is a good thing as long as you don't live in the past, because you can be stuck in the past, because you can constantly think about all of these failures and you can live in that and feel like a failure because all the failures that you've been through. But you can also reflect on these failures and see how you've grown and see how you can make sure that never happens again. And then you can look at the future while looking at your failures to see what went wrong and how I can make it go right. And when you start to do that in the present, you can apply these things. And the present is where you're able to create the magic. So, I'm going to let this cop car go past. So you wake up tomorrow, present day, and you do something that you've never done. You've always been thinking of this idea. You work on that idea. You start to work on this idea daily until you're able to create this idea. You create and launch this idea. And reflect on how you feel after you do it. Do you feel accomplished? Do you feel like you did something good? Or because no one validated you, you give up on yourself? Because sometimes the claps are delayed. Sometimes people want to see if you're truly resilient. A lot of people are haters, the crab in the barrel. They will not support you, especially the people closest to you. Sometimes they will be the last people to clap for you. But you must learn to clap for yourself. And this is something I struggled with early on. I'm a musician, I make content, and I would make songs, and I would let people hear it, and they would give me like, oh yeah, you should try this, you should try that. All of their opinions. These are people that couldn't make a song on their own, but I internalized their opinions and I let it put me down. And it's like, I never celebrated my accomplishments. But then, I spent time in isolation, I spent time to reflect. And now I listen to some of my old songs compared to some of my new songs, and I see the growth because I continue to grow. I gave up on all the external validation, and I validated myself. I started to see my growth. I started to feel good about myself, because it's all a reflection of what you feel within. Life is a mirror. If you feel like nothing, you will manifest nothing. If you feel abundant within, abundance will come to you. But that's why it's important to realize that life is a mirror. You must internalize these things. You must have the power within self in order to manifest your reality. If you have no faith within yourself, it will show. When you have no faith, you're not optimistic. When you're not optimistic, that means you're pessimistic. Pessimistic is believing in the worst outcome. And your thoughts become your reality. And if you're always thinking negative, you will manifest negative situations. That's why you constantly fail. That's why you constantly give up on yourself. That's why you constantly keep seeking the validation of others. But when you become pessimistic, you automatically embody faith, because pessimism is believing good in the unknown. It's believing that the best outcomes will come for you. It's believing that everything is working in your power. And when you believe that, you will achieve that. I hope this video has been nice. Remember, you must learn to detach what's no longer serving you. Detach from all of these things that are limiting you, that are stopping you from growing. Detach from the harmful substances that are keeping your mind altered. Detach from the people around you that speak delta to you and not life into you. Detach from the people that are not willing to clap for you. Detach from the places that make you feel less than. Sometimes you could be stuck at a job, and that job is demanding so much of your time, but you know you have so much to create. And it's like, do I have the faith? If God gave you this vision will provide for you. But if you don't have the faith, you'll never see that vision come to reality, because you're out there helping someone else create their vision. You're out there putting in 80 hours a week so that this company can become richer. He had a vision. He implemented that vision, and now he's successful. He's able to employ people. And you also have a vision, but you're giving up on it. Not saying that you must go without a job, but if that job is so much stress on your life that you're not able to pour into yourself, maybe it's too much for you. Maybe you're living outside of your means right now. Sometimes you have to sacrifice in order to get the growth you want. You must sacrifice in order to pour into yourself and chase your dreams. I am SalDablerd. Drop in a comment if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. It's been nice. Stay woke, kings and queens.